Our next guest is a local mom who's trying to bring families back together for dinner time. She's spent years learning how to better pre-plan meals and modifying recipes for the crock pot. We're cooking today with Valerie McGann. Hi, Valerie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine. Thank you so much. You have a name for this concept in bringing families back together.
Modern family dinner.
Modern family dinner.
Basically, it's just the whole process of getting a family together and coming back and eating that half hour to 40 minutes every night. Even though you're busy, you have your schedules you're trying to keep, you're working, but you want to have something other than, breakfast for dinner.
Yes, and that spending that time together too for families can make such a difference. Just that reconnecting at the end of the day and talking about best part of your day, just reconnecting with the family, I think is very important. What are we making today?
Today we're making cider braised pork chops.
Okay, and something relatively easy to make, which is part of your whole concept.
Right, exactly. You want to have something that's homemade, but it's not extremely difficult. Just a few spices, a few ingredients, and then you get everything set together. So what I do is with the cider braised pork chops, you just take a little bit of salt, and a little bit of nutmeg and some crushed black pepper, and then you're going to put it into your hot pan. I use butter.
Okay.
So you just put it in your pan.
You already seared one side just for time's sake. Yes.
And then after you've finished searing that, you're going to actually take that out of your pan. You're going to leave you have your meat juices in there.
Okay.
You're going to take that out. And then you put in 2 cups of cider.
2 cups of cider.
And then
again, with all the juice from the meat.
Exactly. And then you have a tablespoon of brown sugar.
Okay.
And you're going to use about a teaspoon of cinnamon. I like to put a little bit of extra salt in there. I always use kosher salt. I just like the flavor more. A little bit more pepper.
It smells delicious.
Thank you. And then you're going to whisk this up, bring it to a boil. You want it in a hard boil.
Bring that to a boil.
And then you're going to, when it brings to a hard boil, then I use a little mixture of warm butter with some flour, and then I pour it in, and then you're going to just whisk that around.
Warm butter. You don't need to melt the butter, just warm butter.
You don't want it. You want it room temperature to mix it with the flour, and that's actually going to help keep the lumps out.
Okay.
Okay. And then once this comes up to, it gets to nice thick consistency, you're going to throw your pork chop back in, or pork chops.
Pork chops, yes.
Exactly. And then you're just going to cover it.
Is this a crowd pleaser? Your family likes this one?
Very much, very much. My kids, they love anything that's pork, chicken, beef, you name it, they love it. So once it's completely cooked through,
and you see how when we're able to get a shot of this, you can see how the sauce is really thickened up.
Thickened up.
Did you say to wait for the sauce to thicken before you throw the pork back in?
I thicken it before I put the pork back in.
Okay.
You could do it just the opposite, where you could take the pork out after it's braised and then thicken it and pour it over.
Okay.
It's all. I think it's just more of a matter of taste or what you want as far as process is concerned. And then I have some buttered egg noodles.
Okay. Do you have to use cider? Can you use apple juice, or do you have to use
cider? I would not use apple juice.
Okay.
I think personally that apple juice is just doesn't have the same flavor as the apple cider. And of course you want to butter your egg noodles so that they don't stick together. And then once you've done that, you're going to just take your pork chop.
I bet that sauce is really good over the noodles, huh? Well, that's a great dinner.
And I will normally serve this with just a green salad. And you can I use cider vinaigrette. My kids actually love vinaigrettes, and they like to see me make it. Like, it's just exciting for them.
I know that you have a lot of recipes. You have a blog.
I do.
And on your blog, you include a lot of recipes, and you think about things, Valerie, which I appreciate, like lots of dishes, because that's another thing I think that keeps people from really wanting to make dinner. You can spend 3 hours in the kitchen.
You can. And it's, when you get home from work, I got to tell you that the last thing I want to do is stand there and chop up vegetables and, mess around. I just don't.
Right.
So what I will do is anything that's a little more complicated, I'll pre-chop. If I know that, Wednesday night I'm going to be doing fajitas, I'm going to take the peppers and onions on Sunday or Monday night after my kids go to bed, chop them up, throw them in a Ziploc bag, and then they're ready for me when I go to cook on Wednesday.
So pre-planning is the key to getting the family back together.
Pre-planning is the key. I can't stress that enough.
This is really good.
Thank you.
I just thought I'd eat while you talk.
Oh, that's fine. That's
delicious.
Fine. But yeah, it's just pre-planning, knowing what you're going to make, and you know, sometimes you can wing it. I mean, I tend to have a very full pantry. You probably would think if you went into my pantry that I'm thinking that the next World War is going to come because, you know, there's candidates everywhere.
Your stockpile,
oh, yeah.
I know where to go now in case of an emergency.
Exactly. So, you know, sometimes I do have to do something on the fly. So you have, you know, your basics, your black beans, your canned tomatoes, stuff like that, and you just throw them together. And kids really do appreciate the home cooking. And if you get them that they're a little resistant, get them to help you. Bring them in. You know what? They're going to make a mess. So what?
I know. You have to let go of that.
You do.
Yes, you have to let go of that and go ahead and let them make the mess. But the lessons that they're learning, I think, really are so much greater.
Right. And, you know, if they make it and something that they had a part in, they're really, really going to want to try it.
It's good stuff. This recipe is on our website in case you didn't get all of those ingredients, WCNC.com/Charlotte today. Valerie McGann, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
Good job.